the last keynote tonight is Luc Vincent, VP Engineering at Lyft, who will come and explain us how he builds an engineering structure at Lyft today. You used to work at Google before. You've been leading huge engineering teams. So thank you very much for taking the time on your timetable to come and share your experience with us.
My pleasure, thank you. I'm not sure if people can speak without notes. I'm going to use my phone for my notes so I can remember what I'm talking about. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Cool. So I'm the last speaker between sort of you and one more drink, so I'm going to try to be quick. To not keep you here too long. The food is great. It's being a French company. Thank you, Plato, for all this great food. So as Astrid, I've been at Lyft for about 3 months as VP of Engineering. Prior to this, I was at Google for 12 years. I met Kwang at an event about a year ago. I loved the team's mission, the vision, the energy. Decided to invest in the company, and I didn't know that I was investing. I also had to work for it. So I'm here, as a mentor as well as a speaker. But anyway, so they asked me to share some thoughts about how to build engineering structure. And coincidentally, that's sort of what I'm doing right now at Lyft. I'm essentially trying to hire in the order of 100 people or more by year end. So in doing this, I have to think about how to do it right. And I've got some guiding principles. I won't pretend to know everything that there is to know about building engineering structures. I just have some principles that guide me as I do this. So the first one is I think you should really always go after your top talent first, right? So, some people love to think about what they call org design. Build this beautiful org. You got your, manager of this over there, manager of that over here, your functional group over here. And you know what? If you start with it from the scratch, you're going to never find the people that you want to have. Nobody will fit these buckets that you have, neatly defined, in your org structure. So I think best is to have an open mind and go after top-notch people, right? The best you can find. And once you find them, you can sort of organize around them, and they will help you also grow your org. They will help you hire the next level leader. So you will, first of all, be able to grow faster because they will do their job in hiring. And then eventually you'll be able to sort of, fill in the gaps in the org with maybe more specialized talent. So I would start with that. So not to ossify your org. The other thing I think about is sort of functional versus project-based. You can build, either an org around a leader owning a project, and every person working on this project, or you can also essentially have an organization where you have functional teams that sort of work across the org horizontally and in a matrix way. I think both have merit. I personally prefer the project-based. Maybe it's because of my career at Google, where typically groups were around one project that they owned. I think if you have these functional groups, it becomes more difficult for them to have an identity, right? The identity is to be helping across the org, and they maybe lose a sense of ownership of projects. So my bias for project-based, but I think both have merit, and it's up to you to decide what will work for you. Just think about it as you build your org. The other thing that keeps me busy as well is thinking about the mix of sort of seniority in the team. I think for a team to click, to work well together, you need kind of a mix of senior people, junior people, right? When you have junior people, they are willing to do things that somebody more senior will be bored in doing, right? Conversely, if you have senior people, they're going to be able to take on more challenging projects and also mentor your junior people. So I think having the right balance is obviously key here. And again, junior and senior mean different things to different people. I would say, on balance, start by hiring the senior ones, and they will help you see the culture of the organization, see the system you need to use to be effective, see the bunch of things that I think matter in the long run for your org. Let's see, so one other thing that I typically think about in building the org is sort of geographic distribution of the org. We heard about how it's difficult to have teams in Mountain View or in the Bay Area and in Israel. I could not agree more. I've had, in my last job at Google, I had teams in Beijing, in Seattle, in Mountain View, in San Francisco, in Zurich, in France. It was a bit of a mess, right? And so it makes things difficult. So this being said, you can't avoid it with large org. You typically will have some geographic distribution of people. As you grow these teams, I would think that the best thing you can do is to try to have kind of an identity for each office. So don't like have, every office do everything, right? Try to have, office you're doing A and B, and office, office number 2 doing C and D, and things like this. Do not also have very junior people report, sort of across, many time zones to somebody at headquarters or somewhere else. It just doesn't work. So think about having leaders in local offices that can really be the people you trust there. So we heard a lot about trust as well this evening, how trust matters to you as a leader. I think, to me, it's like the key, right? You have to surround yourself with people you trust, right? And it's no wonder that when you move from org to org or team to team, you try to sort of bring the same people with you because you've built that trust with them over the years, right? And that's totally critical. If you surround yourself with people you trust, you can delegate to them and you can grow yourself and you can sort of do more. And of course, there's different levels of trust. You can have, people that you trust and challenge. They are your stars. They are the people that will, grow further and potentially, grow faster than you at some point, like we've heard the Dropbox example. Or, you'll have people that are slightly, sort of maybe less, capable that you need to somehow support more. And but the bottom line, if you don't trust them, you don't get anything done. So surround yourself with people you trust, and that's how you will succeed and grow and delegate and get stuff done. So with this, I will maybe move on to questions. So let's see. The first question: how do you calculate cost to hire, time to hire, and cost to delayed hire? Gee, that's very tough. I don't know, honestly. So we try to move as fast as possible, right? I think typically, any delayed system means you're going to get less done. So I would say it's probably on balance best to, spend more and go faster, right? At least that'd be my bias. But I don't think I fully understand the questions. Whoever asked the question, maybe we can, talk some more over wine later. It's you, okay. Thank you. We'll talk. Okay. Gosh, all these tough questions. How do you balance speed and agility versus structure? I guess, again, my bias would be speed and agility comes before structure. I think structure will always evolve no matter what. And you can't just have a structure that would stay forever. But maybe speed and agility is more of a cultural thing. And so I think, you seem to agree, thank you. having this be part of the culture is probably even more important than having a structure, because the structure will evolve. Let's see, so next question. As a growing startup with a product-oriented CEO, when is the right moment to bring in VP of Eng? Is it just the thing too early or too late? Yeah. Good question. I think it probably depends on the exact situation, so I'm not sure I can give advice that's sort of applicable across the board. I would tend to think that if you can find somebody top-notch, bring them in, and then eventually the role, will evolve, and they will find something to do that matters to you. So, I think we talked about, what leadership is. Leadership is about, sort of setting a vision. If you set a vision and you get great leaders and ICs and top-notch people to buy into this vision, and you're able financially to hire them, then bring them in, and then by all means, they will at some point find the right role, and you will help them find the right role. So it's probably never too early to do this. What do you think difference between influence and trust? And what is the relationship between them? I know lots of people that I trust that I'm unable to influence. There's one in this room, or actually maybe he just left. Okay, anyway, so I think it's different, right? Some people you trust that do an amazing job at what they do, but they are more maybe opinionated. They are difficult to influence, and on the other hand, some people, maybe typically more junior people, are easier to influence. They sometimes might. You got to be careful. They might drink your words, and so be very careful what you say. You can influence them too much, and I've learned that in meetings when you're there expressing an opinion as a leader, especially at the VP level, your opinion matters a lot. So be careful what you say. You have too much influence with a few words. So so think about it carefully. We're done. Okay. So thank you very much.